Hey guys, today I'm gonna review Inkmistress by Audrey Coulthurst. I received an arc of this through Edelweiss in exchange for an honest review, and this book comes out March 6th. Inkmistress is a YA fantasy, and it is set in the same world as Of Fire and Stars, but it has nothing to do with the plot. You can completely read it on its own. It doesn't have anything to do with each other. It's just set in the same world. And I think Inkmistress is gonna be a standalone. I'm not sure. I definitely think it can stand alone. I also definitely think that there is also opportunity for more novels, but I do think that for now it's planned as a standalone. It's a little bit hard to explain the plot of Inkmistress, especially because I feel like there's a big chance you give too much away. I, as always, went into it not knowing too much about it, or rather by the time I eventually actually read the book, I had already forgotten what the plot was about. So I will try my best to give you a little bit, but not too much. If you're interested in more, as always, check out the Goodreads synopsis, but I do think the Goodreads synopsis gives away a little bit too much. So our main protagonist is Azra. She's a demigod, and she has been living her whole life at the top of this mountain next to a village, and she has kind of been hiding that she's a demigod. She just kind of serves this village with like herbs and stuff for like curing diseases and everything, and she doesn't really have much contact with them, but she is definitely kind of someone who takes care of this village. The summer before this novel starts, this girl Ina from the village has been coming up to the mountain to kind of communicate with Azra, and they fall in love. Ina kind of comes back to Azra after the winter and tells her about bandits who have kind of been going from village to village and killing people and stealing all of their stuff, and Ina is scared that this is going to happen to her village as well. In this world, the people, when they become adults, they kind of get a manifest, which is an animal that they then can turn into, and they kind of have two souls, and it's like somehow this spiritual thing that almost everybody in this world gets. That's kind of the normal thing that they have. But Ina has not yet gotten her manifest, and that is kind of an issue because she really wants to help her village and she wants to have something to say. She wants to talk to the king for him to send help to this village, but because she does not have her manifest yet, she's not really someone who has a lot to say, and so she asks Azra for help. Azra does end up helping her because she has this special ability of writing both the past and the future in her blood. So she can change stuff in both the past and the future, and so she does that to help Ina, but it ends up going completely wrong and everything kind of turns to shit. And this is really only like the very, very beginning of the novel, but that is kind of where we take off. Inkmistress is a novel that I went into with not the highest expectations. I was excited about the world building because I really love the world building in Of Fire and Stars, but other than that, I wasn't really sure how to feel about it going into it. There is a dragon on the cover. I'm not into dragons, and I didn't really know how much of a role dragons would play in this whole world, so I went into it being excited to see another story by Audrey Coulthurst, but I really did not go into it with like huge expectations, and I ended up being blown away so much. I'm like, this book was so good that I'm gonna have a really, really hard time doing a review for it because I honestly don't know what to tell you. I loved every single thing about this book. I love this book so much. I think it did so many wonderful things, and it did all of them beautifully. I'm just gonna go through what I loved about it, but you can't really expect me to say anything negative because for me, simply, there was not anything negative about this at all. I could not tell you one thing to criticize because I loved every single thing about it. So first of all, I think the world building was wonderful. As I said, I already loved the world building in Of Fire and Stars, so I was kind of expecting that. I was just in general really interested in this world. I thought that it was kind of easy to understand, but at the same time, there was constantly new stuff to find out about it, and you were kind of constantly craving to find out more about the world and the kind of magic system and everything. I think that there is so much more even. You can definitely tell that she has a big picture in mind of this whole world and how it works, and of kind of different kind of countries in this world, and it's just amazing. I think what mostly blew me away about this one, no, I can't even say that. I can't even say that because there's nothing that kind of blew me away more than anything else did. Everything blew me away. So, the characters. All of them were amazing. The main character, Azra, is wonderful. Her character development is so good, and I loved all of her thoughts. I loved everything she went through. I loved how she kind of wanted to protect her village and kind of wanted to protect her world, but at the same time there were also moments where she was just like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, I'm just gonna leave, I'm gonna be with the people that I love, and I just can't take it anymore. She was amazing. I absolutely loved her, but also all of the side characters. The villain was also someone who had incredibly interesting development, and definitely a villain that I think I will think about a lot more, and that will kind of probably come up on lists of villains. Like if people ask me who's one of your favorite villains, I think this could definitely be someone that I would mention. I think there's so many interesting complex relationships in here, be it like family relationships or found family relationships or romantic relationships, and I absolutely love that. So the novel obviously starts out with a female-female relationship. As I said, Ezra and Ina, they kind of have this romance in the summer before this novel starts, but throughout the book Ezra actually ends up falling in love with a boy. There's no labels used because I'm pretty sure labels don't exist in this world. Audrey Coulthurst might have mentioned that Ezra is bi. This novel, just as Of Fire and Stars, just shows that that's like not an issue in that world at all. Like there's no heteronormativity in this world at all. That's something that I once again really appreciated, because it's something that's just there. It's very simple, but it feels really good. In my reviews, I rarely ever talk about writing, because writing is something that I don't really notice a lot of the times. Sometimes I notice if it's something that's a little bit complicated, or I notice if it's something that's just like very easy, but for the most part it's not something that is very important to me or that I notice much. But in Inkmistress, I fell in love with the beautiful writing immediately. Like long before I realized how invested I would be with the story and the characters, I already loved the writing, and the writing is a huge part of why everything about this feels very intense, why the world building is so good, why the relationships feel so intense and you're really emotionally invested in them, because the writing is beautiful and wonderful. It just really makes you feel so many things. And I absolutely loved it. I think the writing was just great, but still like very easy to understand. Oh, so great. Absolutely wonderful, absolutely amazing. So yeah, as I said, I was just emotionally invested very quickly, and that's one of the things that is most important to me. And I just immediately fell for everything in this novel. I just immediately was in love. There was a point like 40% or so into it where I actually was like, holy shit, so far I'm loving this so much. I'm almost scared of continuing reading because I don't know where this is gonna go from here. This can only go downhill, but it didn't. It just went uphill even more. I just love this so much. I don't even like, oh my god, like it's been such a long time that a novel kind of took me by surprise so much. Inkmistress was just not something that I expected to love as much as I do. It was wonderful. Everything about it was wonderful. There's not one single thing that I didn't love, that I think was well done. I could talk 20 more minutes about how much I love it and how much I would recommend it and how much everything about this is wonderful, but that would just bore you, wouldn't it? So I think I'm just gonna end this review here, because really, as I said, there's nothing else I can say. Everything about it is just beautiful, and that's so good. I'm really happy, if you can't tell. And I hope if you pick this novel up that you will also really love it. If you have already read it, I obviously want to know your thoughts and opinions on it. Leave them down in the comments below. Even if they're negative, that's fine, as long as you're being respectful. And if you have not yet read it, I want to know, is it on your radar? Are you excited for it? Do you maybe plan on picking it up now after watching my enthusiastic review? And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!